Part 1. Introduction. The value of peace in old age. Growing older brings many changes. Our bodies slow down. Our responsibilities shift. We begin to see the world differently. Many of us start to care less about running after success and more about peace, comfort, and meaningful moments. In these years, peace is not just a luxury. It becomes a necessity. It is something we earn after a lifetime of work, effort, and endurance. But peace is not something that just happens. We must protect it. We must be careful about the people we allow into our lives during this phase. Sometimes it is not life itself, but certain people who steal our peace. And surprisingly, these people are not always strangers. They can be family, old friends, or people we've helped many times before. In this script, we will talk about 4 types of people you should avoid helping or getting too involved with in your old age if you want to keep your peace of mind and live with dignity and happiness. This is not about being selfish. It's about being wise. You can be kind and generous, but also careful and strong, because your peace matters. Let's begin with the first type. Part 2, the entitled taker. The first type of person who can disturb your peace is the entitled taker. This person always expects something from you. They may be your relative, your child, a neighbor, or even an old friend. No matter what you do for them, they feel it's not enough. They believe you owe them something, and they keep asking your time, your money, your energy. When you give, they take. And when you stop, they get angry. They might make you feel guilty. They might say things like, "After all I've done for you," or "You're old now, what else do you need money for?" They may act like helping them is your duty. But this is not love. This is emotional manipulation. In old age, your resources, physical, emotional, and financial, become more limited. You cannot afford to spend them on people who only drain you. You are not here to carry others' weight forever. You've done enough in your life. Now is your time to rest, enjoy, and live in peace. If you keep giving to entitled people, you'll find yourself tired, worried, and even resentful. And that's not fair to you. You don't owe anyone your peace. Help where you can, but learn to say no when it starts hurting you. Part 3, the chronic complainer. The second type of person who can ruin your peace is the chronic complainer. This person always finds something to be negative about. Nothing is ever good enough for them. They talk about what's wrong in the world, in the family, in their lives, and sometimes even in your life. When you spend time with this person, you begin to feel heavy. Their words drain your energy. They rarely smile. They don't celebrate the good things. And worse, they don't let you celebrate either. In old age, your mental peace is precious. You've already faced life's battles, health issues, losses, challenges. You don't need more negativity. You need joy, laughter, and light conversations. Chronic complainers don't just share problems. They create an atmosphere of sadness and fear. They pull you into their dark cloud. Even when your day was going just fine, it's okay to be there for someone in pain. But if someone is always negative and never tries to improve their mindset, you need to protect yourself. You can listen sometimes, but don't let their negativity become your daily diet. Distance yourself when needed. Choose people who uplift you, not those who bring you down. Part 4, the manipulative pretender. The third type of person who can quietly steal your peace in old age is the manipulative pretender. These individuals don't come into your life with open demands. They don't shout or complain. Instead, They use silence, smiles, and sweet words to hide their real intentions. They act like they care, but they are always watching for what they can gain from you. This type of person can be difficult to identify at first. They might call you often. They might bring small gifts or say kind words, but their kindness is conditions. Deep down, they are waiting for the right moment to ask for favors. They may say, I didn't want to bring this up, but I need a little help. And then, little by little, they start to ask more and more. The most dangerous thing about manipulative people is that they use emotional control. They know your soft spots. They may remind you of past relationships or shared memories. They may say things like, you're the only one I trust, or I don't know what I'd do without you. On the surface, it sounds flattering, but underneath it's a trap. They want you to feel responsible for their needs. In your younger years, you may have had the energy to deal with such people, but in your old age, your emotional boundaries must be stronger. You don't have to play games with anyone. You don't have to second-guess people's true intentions. You need honesty, not drama. Respect, not confusion. One of the signs of a manipulative person is that after spending time with them, you feel emotionally tired. You start to question your decisions. You feel guilty for saying no. If that happens often, it's a red flag. These people may not raise their voice, but they disturb your inner peace through emotional pressure and guilt. That's not a relationship. That's control. If you recognize someone like this in your life, take a step back. Create distance. You can be polite without being available all the time. You can be respectful without being used. You have every right to protect your mind, heart, and time from those who wear a mask of kindness but live with a hidden agenda. In your later years, your peace should be simple and pure. There's no room for people who make you feel like you're in a constant emotional negotiation. Walk away from such bonds. You'll breathe lighter when you do. Part 5. The Resentful Opportunist. The fourth type of person who can ruin your peace in old age is a resentful opportunist. This is someone who appears friendly or even loving, but deep inside, they carry jealousy, bitterness, or old grudges. They might pretend to care about you, but they quietly resent your comfort, your wisdom, or even your peace. This person may have felt overshadowed by you in the past. Perhaps they think you were lucky in life, or that you didn't deserve your success or family. They might compare your choices with theirs and secretly blame you for what they missed out on. But instead of working on their own life, they turn their bitterness toward you. At first, you may not even notice their resentment. They might hide it under sarcasm or passive-aggressive comments. But with time, you'll notice little signs. They question your decisions. They dismiss your achievements. They make jokes that sting a little. They don't celebrate your joy. In fact, when you're happy, they're quiet. And when you're struggling, they show a strange satisfaction. Resentful opportunists are dangerous because they don't just hurt you. They try to make you doubt your worth. They may bring up past mistakes and say things like, you always made everything about yourself, or some people just got all the help while others were ignored. These comments are not made in love. They're made to weaken your confidence and shake your peace. In old age, you don't need to fight silent battles. You don't need to carry guilt that doesn't belong to you. If someone is carrying old resentment, let them carry it alone. You are not responsible for their unhealed wounds. What makes this type of person worse is their opportunism. When they need something, your money, your influence, your support, they will act close to you. But once they get what they want, their true feelings return. You'll notice they disappear, avoid showing appreciation, or bring back the same cold behavior. Ask yourself this: why keep someone in your life who doesn't wish you well? Why help someone who smiles at you in public but rolls their eyes when you walk away? The answer is simple. You don't have to. You have every right to choose peace over tension, joy over bitterness, and clarity over confusion. Life is too short, and old age even shorter, to waste on people who only show up to take, criticize, or compete. Kindness is not weakness, and protecting yourself is not selfish. The greatest gift you can give yourself now is freedom. Freedom from emotional battles. Freedom from guilt. Freedom from fake connections. Let the resentful opportunists walk their own path. You've earned the right to walk yours in peace. Part 6. How to recognize these people early. It's not always easy to identify people who will disturb your peace, especially when they come disguised as friends or family members. Some of them may have been in your life for years. Others may appear during certain phases, especially when they sense that you have something to offer, whether it's time, attention, emotional support, or money. But there are signs, subtle signs. And if you pay attention to how you feel around certain people, you can learn to recognize who is helping your peace and who is stealing it. Let's talk about some ways to recognize each of these 4 types of people early, so you can protect yourself without waiting for too much damage to be done. First, let's talk about the entitled taker. One of the easiest ways to identify them is by looking at the pattern of your relationship. Is it one-sided? Do you always end up giving, whether it's time, favors, or money, without getting any appreciation or support in return? Do they only reach out when they need something and disappear when you need a friend? If every conversation leads to a request or a complaint, that's a clear sign. Entitled takers usually lack gratitude. They speak in terms of should and must. They might say things like, "You should be helping," or "You're supposed to support your family." But ask yourself this: what have they done to support you in return? A healthy relationship is about mutual respect. If you're the only one making an effort, that's not respect. It's convenience, and you're the one being used. Now, about the chronic complainer. This person is easy to spot if you listen closely. No matter what's going on, they find the negative. If you say, "It's a beautiful day," they'll say, "It'll probably rain later." If you mention good news, they'll talk about why it won't last. They tend to focus on problems, often without looking for solutions. Spending time with a chronic complainer feels emotionally heavy. You may feel like the joy is being pulled out of the room, even when you were in a good mood before. You'll notice they don't laugh often, and if they do, it's often at someone else's expense. They may gossip, criticize others, and bring in unnecessary drama. Over time, their energy starts affecting your mental health. If you leave their company feeling more drained than energized, pay attention. That's not a coincidence. It's a warning. As for the manipulative pretender, their behavior is a little more subtle. At first, they might be the most charming and attentive people you know. They compliment you. They ask about your health. They offer to help you. But over time, their words begin to have strings attached. You start feeling like their kindness isn't free. Here's a trick to recognize manipulation. Observe what happens when you say no. If someone truly cares about you, they will respect your boundaries. But a manipulative person will become cold, distant, or even guilt-tripping. They might say, I thought you cared about me, or I didn't expect this from you after everything I've done. Their love is conditional. They don't truly care about your needs, only their own desires. Manipulative pretenders will often use your weaknesses against you. They remember your soft spots and use them to get what they want. That emotional control, and it's dangerous. If you find yourself constantly questioning whether you did the right thing around someone, it may be because they're manipulating your emotions. Now, let's talk about the resentful opportunist. These individuals are often polite on the surface, but cold underneath. They don't show much joy when you succeed, but they become strangely present when you're struggling. They might not say mean things directly, but their body language, tone, or silence tells you that they're not happy for you. A resentful person often sees your blessings as unfair advantages. They may remind you of your past mistakes, bring up painful memories, or compare your life to theirs in a bitter tone. They won't celebrate your growth. They'll secretly wish you'd lose what you have. Watch for passive aggression. Watch for fake smiles. Watch for moments where they make you feel guilty for doing well. These are not the signs of love. These are signs of someone who cannot be happy unless you are struggling too. Recognizing these types of people early doesn't mean you have to cut them off suddenly, but it does mean you can begin setting boundaries. You can start protecting your time and peace before it's too late. And remember this, your inner peace is more important than pleasing anyone else. You've lived enough life to know that some people come to add joy and others come to take it. Don't ignore your feelings. If someone makes you feel unsafe, uncomfortable, or exhausted, you have every right to take a step back. Part 7. Setting healthy boundaries without guilt. Setting boundaries is not about being rude. It's about being honest with yourself and protecting your well-being. Many people confuse kindness with availability, especially when you're older. They assume that just because you have more time or experience, you should always be willing to give. But giving without limits can slowly destroy your peace. As we age, we must learn to say no. Not because we don't care, but because we've learned what truly matters. At this stage in life, energy is not unlimited. Time is precious. Health is sacred. And peace is non-negotiable. Still, many people find it difficult to set boundaries, especially with family or lifelong friends. Why? Because of guilt, because of pressure, because of a deep belief that saying no makes us selfish or uncaring. But here's the truth. Saying no to others often means saying yes to yourself. Let's explore how you can begin setting healthy boundaries without guilt. The first step is recognizing your limits. Ask yourself, how much time, energy, and attention can I realistically give to others without harming my own peace? If helping someone makes you feel overwhelmed, stressed, or emotionally drained, it's okay to step back. You're not a machine. You're a human being. You've given enough throughout your life. It's okay to rest now. The second step is clear communication. When you set a boundary, you don't need to explain every detail. You don't need to argue or defend your choice. A simple statement is enough. You can say, I'm not able to take that on right now. I need time to rest and focus on myself. I hope you understand, but I can't help with this. Some people might not like it. They may get upset or try to guilt you. That's okay. Their reaction is not your responsibility. Your job is to be kind but firm. You're not here to manage anyone's emotions. You're here to protect your peace. The third step is consistency. Once you set a boundary, You need to stick to it. Don't change it just because someone complains or pushes harder. People will always test your limits if you let them, but when you stay consistent, they begin to respect your space. More importantly, you begin to respect yourself. It's also important to understand that not everyone will understand your boundaries. Some people may think you've changed. They may say you become distant or cold. But remember this: growth often looks like distance to those who benefited from your lack of boundaries. Let them think what they want. You know your truth. One powerful strategy is to shift from reaction to intention. Instead of reacting to every request or demand, ask yourself, do I want to do this, or do I feel obligated? If it's obligation without joy or purpose, you have the right to say no. Intention brings peace. Obligation brings resentment. Also, don't wait until you're overwhelmed to speak up. Start practicing small boundaries in daily life. If someone calls too often and drains your energy, it's okay to let the phone ring. If a neighbor constantly wants to talk about negative things, it's okay to shorten the conversation. If a family member keeps asking for money, it's okay to say, I'm not in a position to help right now. You don't owe anyone your time, money, or energy, especially if it costs you your peace. Finally, remember that boundaries are a form of self-respect. They are not walls that keep people out. They are gates that protect what's inside. You are not rejecting people. You are choosing yourself. And that's something to be proud of. You've lived through enough. You've done your share. Now it's time to protect what you've built. Your calm, your health, your mind, and your heart. Final thoughts. Choosing peace is choosing yourself. Old age is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a quieter, deeper chapter. A time to reflect, to rest, and to enjoy the life you have built. It is a time when peace becomes more valuable than possessions, more necessary than praise, and more powerful than people's opinions. Throughout your life, you may have helped many. You may have carried burdens that weren't yours. You may have stayed silent to keep the peace. But now, you no longer need to prove yourself. You are allowed to choose peace without apology. The truth is, not everyone deserves access to your heart in this stage of life. Some people will only take what you give and offer nothing in return. Some will bring drama when all you want is calm. Some will wear masks of love, but carry resentment underneath. And some will simply drain your spirit little by little. You don't need them. You don't need their approval. You don't need their company if it costs you your sanity. What you need and deserve is peace of mind, kind conversations, people who genuinely care, time to do what you love, or to do nothing at all, space to rest your body and free your thoughts. You deserve comfort. You deserve respect. You deserve joy, even in silence. Setting boundaries doesn't make you harsh. Walking away doesn't make you bitter. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you wise. It means you've learned that not everyone who walks with you is walking for you. So, as you move forward, remember this. You have the right to protect your energy. You have the right to say no without guilt. You have the right to create distance from people who disturb your peace. And most of all, you have the right to enjoy the life you've worked so hard to build. Let go of the takers. Let go of the complainers. Let go of the manipulators and the resentful ones. Keep your circle small and your peace large, because at this point in life, peace is not just a choice. It is a responsibility to yourself, and you've earned every moment of it.